to the ACCCTEP Business Meeting. We're going to cut out an hour or so in our day to conduct the business for our organization. I hope you've enjoyed the morning sessions so far and had a chance to grab something to drink or take a little break in between the transitions. We're kind of a power-packed day here to accommodate everyone's times. But if we could just, I'm going to talk a minute right now about what our agenda is for the business meeting. When the slide comes up. Thanks, Julie. I just want to take this minute, actually. We mentioned the name Julie frequently throughout the day. Julie Adams has been our technical assistant, our back office person, our front office person, our coordinator, pretty exclusively on volunteer time. And so I just want to recognize Julie Adams today, who's behind the scenes helping with all our technical offering today. So Julie, thank you so much. Julie is the former executive director of the Academic Senate for California Community Colleges, and she's busy being with her own company, helping major organizations be efficient and do their thing. So we're really lucky to have her. Okay, so what we're going to start with in our business meeting today is we're going to have a brief treasurer's report. Then we have some bylaws changes that the board has looked at and is proposing to the membership. As we really intensified our work around ACCCTEP this year, we realized we could perfect our bylaws, and so we want to put those to you as a body. We sent them to you in the email ahead of time for you to review. So we're going to go over those changes and take a motion for adopting them or entertain discussion around them. We're going to have a brief period where we have our board candidates, our new board candidates, introduce themselves. We have 3 positions open. And we're going to then take some time to talk about the work of each of our committees. And I'm just noticing that the Professional Development Technical Assistance Committee, which I chair, does not have a slide. I completely forgot about that in the context of putting on this major professional development activity. So you can just see what the Professional Development Committee is doing and what it's accomplished this year. And then at the end of our meeting, we are going to have the results of our election, all due to the automated survey that we put out earlier this week for voting delegates who were not going to be able to attend today. And then for those of you who are in attendance, you can complete your, cast your votes after our candidates have spoken. Okay, next slide, please. I'd like to introduce Colleen McKinley, the treasurer of the ACCCTEP board and organization.
Thanks, Janice. Hello, everybody. I have one of the easier jobs, I would say, of the board, being the ACCCTEP treasurer, and I'm happy to report our information about our budget, and also hope that you will notice how important it is as we go through our financials that our membership is as a newer organization. So our board approved 2020-21 budget was $4,500 based upon new memberships. The income that we've received so far is $1,493. And you may be wondering why the odd number, given the round number of our memberships. But in order to make it convenient and to pay via credit card, there are fees associated with that. So that is why that is an odd number. Our conference income was $825 and expenditures are $2,500 for the content that we've brought you today, which has us currently operating at a net income of negative $182. So while ACCCTEP's total assets are $8,932, we are fortunate that this year's convening was very inexpensive in a virtual format. And but in order for us to continue this work, it is very important that we continue to bring in members so that we can, as an organization, make a change and support our fellow community college teacher education programs in the state of California. So that is it for me, unless there are any questions.
Okay, hearing none. Let's move to the bylaws changes. Okay, so these are the areas that are proposed for some revisions. We've expanded the membership definition, clarified that a little bit better. We've clarified who the delegates are and how they operate and what the annual dues are. That we had made small edits to update the terminology and technology that we have mentioned in our bylaws, and we updated board member responsibilities. Each board member has a responsibility. Primarily, there's an executive board of the president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. And then we've clarified some committee descriptions and how they operate. So Julie's going to share the screen with us right now. And we'll be able to peruse through, starting with page 2, the proposed changes. And hopefully you all had a chance to look at these before the meeting. For those of you that are in attendance right now and are voting delegates, I would like to first entertain a motion to approve the changes. And when seconded, then we'll have discussion and questions. I suppose you could do that in the chat, or unmute yourself and chime in, please, because we have a small group.
This is Steve Batista from Santa Ana College. I move to approve.
Thank you, Steve.
Megan Bennett, I'll second.
From which college, Megan?
From Clovis Community.
Great. Thank you, Megan. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that the membership or the voting delegates of ACCCTEP approve these changes to the bylaws. Is there any discussion or questions? And you can chime in, I think, because we have such a small group, or put it in the chat, and Steve Batista will be monitoring that. Julie, you can go ahead and scroll through onto the next page. We'll just give you all a few minutes in case you didn't get a chance to read ahead of time. Maybe I'll go back because we have a few minutes. Let's go back to the second page and let me just kind of talk about the membership. We clarified institutional memberships, which is any faculty member, staff member, or professional expert employed by a California community college who has an expertise in TK-12 teacher education programs, may be a delegate as designated below. And there's a section on delegates. Individual membership, any individual employed by a community college who has expertise and will be a non-voting member. This would be someone beyond your institutional membership at your college. An affiliate membership is anyone who is not employed by a community college but has expertise and has an interest in in teacher education, will be a non-voting member. And then we wanted to add in, since some of us will, Kathleen and I, be retiring soon, any individual who retires during membership may become a member at the time of their retirement and will be a non-voting member. So we wanted to expand this to make sure that, we do have retirees that still want to be involved. We have additional faculty on our campuses who want to be part of the membership. So we wanted to expand this. Any questions about that component? Okay, let's go to the delegates. The community college institutional membership is kind of the indication of a voting delegate. is entitled to designate any of its faculty or staff in whatever manner it wishes to be its designee, who shall have full voting rights at the ACCCTEP annual convening or other events determined by the Board of Governors. Each institutional membership may designate up to 2 voting delegates. And you'll see there's a membership price range that's in our flyer. That talks about how does your college engage in institutional memberships. And it's really the best way to go, because that way the college is to have a tendency to maintain those memberships. And as faculty, faculty can be identified differently from year to year as to who the voting delegates are from your campus. Annual dues. The amount required for institutional or individual dues shall be determined annually by the Board of Directors no later than June 1st. Our dues period is, membership period is from July 1 and ends June 30th. Okay, go on down to section 5, just a typo. Regular meetings of the members is just talking about that we'll meet at least once a year in a regional meeting, which happens to be this one, but that does not preclude ACCCTEP from meeting twice a year. We were going to meet in the north this year, but now we're meeting virtually, so that did not become an issue. We would try to rotate if we have one annual meeting between north and south. Further on is just corrections to terminology. Same thing here, a petition signed by the majority of voting members can call a special meeting if they like. Just you know, bylaws language. Further down, identifying what percentages constitute a quorum. So today, if we have at least 40% of delegates present vote on something, then that is sufficient. Voting on something, that's sufficient. Okay, scroll down to the next page. Director shall be elected from among the delegates. This is something that is a new proposal. It is not in action right now, but that's a new proposal for as the membership grows. But anyone who's a member is running this year for candidacy. Elections and terms of office, just some cleanup language. Terms of office are two-year stints. Representatives will represent from north or south, and those terms are staggered. And then down to the bottom, we just improved our language, because we are talking about not telephone and electronic meetings, but remote meetings now. Teleconference is the same as what we're doing. And just some cleanup language under notices of meetings. More cleanup language for as prescribed by the president, the secretary shall notify the director in writing that his or her seat has been declared vacant. That's if someone is not a paid member or has resigned from the board or whatever. So it's just an official process. Okay, same, just talking about what the majority or 3/4 of the members of the board of directors, and they're voting 5 of 7, because there are 7 board of directors. And then the officers shall serve as the executive committee. The officers must be active voting members, period, of the organization. Scroll down. Okay, just duties for the vice president and secretary, treasurer, just, you know, for your edification, if you're interested in being one of the officers. And down further is the election. The election of officers are held actually within the board of directors. So you'll be electing new board members today. We're going to have 3 vacant positions. And once those new members are seated on the board of directors in January at the board of directors meeting, those folks will elect who the officers will be for the board. We don't elect officers from the field at this point in our organization. And committees, just about forming committees, the finance committee, what they do. And then committee membership, the president appoints all committee chairs. Each committee shall have a board of director member as chair, or co-chair or member as determined by the president, typically a conversation among the board. Any member may serve on a committee. So as a member of the organization, you may chair a committee. And we've talked about, ex officio membership, attending at the board meetings and different kinds of things. So there's a lot of opportunities for members to be involved at a leadership level in ACCCTEP other than serving on the board. Okay. And so it has been moved and seconded that we adopt the revisions to the bylaws today, November 13th. Are there any questions?
I don't see any questions in the chat, Janice.
Okay, wonderful. So if you could use your participant response button to raise your hand, or make a green check of yes next to your name, then we'll be able to count the vote for yes. If you are a no, please put a red X next to your name on the participant list. And you would just be voting if you are a voting delegate from your college, or if a college, whatever college you're representing, if they've identified you as the voting delegate. Veronica Hurtado, you are a voting delegate from Santiago Canyon College. Okay, anyone else needing to cast their vote? Maria Adams, is your vote recorded on the participants list? Vice President Bautista, would you be able to count those for us?
Yes. We have 15 votes for yes, 0 for no.
All right, then it's been moved and seconded, and the modifications or the edits to the bylaws have been approved. So thank you very much for that tedious bit of business. You all did fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll be moving on to our next agenda item, and that is to hear a little bit from our candidates that are running for the board positions. As I've said previously, we have north and south positions. That's how the board of directors for ACCCTEP have been determined at this point. And we have 3 members from the current board of directors whose terms have ended. And so I want to just take a moment to congratulate and thank Colleen McKinley from Cerritos College, our treasurer, and Kathleen White from City College of San Francisco, who've been just done yeoman's work and done incredible, put their passion and their time into really elevating ACCCTEP to a much stronger organization over the last few years. So myself and Colleen and Kathleen will be terming out from the board. And so that leaves 3 vacant positions for these 5 wonderful candidates that we have in front of us today. So Kimberly Barker, do you want to say a few things about your interest in the board or who you are? And then we'll go to
Sure.
Lisa,
Yeah, I
and
would
then we'll
love
go to Marnie. Okay,
I would
Marini.
love to. Thank you
Okay.
so much. My name is Kim Barker. I'm an assistant professor in the Child and Family Education and Education Department at Antelope Valley College. I'm also the appointed director of our Teacher Accelerated Preparation Program grant for the next 5 years. First, I'd like to thank you all for taking time to attend today and all the amazing work that you're doing. It's an honor to be here and to have been nominated to run for a seat on the Association of California Community Colleges Teacher Education Preparation Board. I'm excited by the prospect of being part of this board and partaking in the contribution of and continuation of innovative work taking place in early childhood education and education during these challenging times. I'm thrilled to be part of leading the way because I truly believe in the following ACCCTEP mission: to promote the establishment, advancement, and sustainability of quality teacher education in California community colleges as an essential component of higher education teacher preparation programs. I'm committed to helping to define and provide an inclusive and supportive space, a space where early childhood education and education students and professionals have opportunity to explore and recognize the value of their life experiences. I believe we really need to provide and hold space for them to process how those invaluable real life experiences inform them in whatever profession they choose in education. I believe in designing programs that make sure we are not marginalizing those experiences or the experiences of those surrounding our families and communities. I believe in building strong spaces and programs supporting this type of reflection and engagement is what we need to encourage radical empathy in all students and professionals. And I want you to know I'm committed to supporting and providing a platform of diversity, one that rejects structural racism, addresses micro and explicit aggressions, where we are all valued and all students are valued and see themselves in their facilitators and leaders. I'm committed to leveling my privilege to connect, encourage, and embrace innovation, anti-racism, and true change, where we become more than an ally. We become true agents of change, where we become accomplices. I'm committed to connecting to children, family, colleagues, and community, sharing in the identification of their needs, meeting their needs, working closely with coalitions such as CARE Coalition, the Coalition of Anti-Racism Education. They were one of our presenters here today, to build programs and curriculum that address our bias in a way that focus on truly bringing an interpersonal change and growth. And I'm committed to the collaboration, transparency, and connection it takes to build programs where inclusiveness is the norm and accountability is mandated, with a deep understanding that this type of change begins in early childhood education and continues throughout our lifetimes. So I again thank you for this opportunity. And last but not least, I pledge my support no matter the outcome of this appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Leah Martinez from Rio Hondo College.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leah Martinez from Rio Hondo College, and I am the interim project manager for our teacher preparation and pathways program. I just want to tell you a little bit about some of the leadership roles that I'm currently doing and have done in the past. I am currently spearheading our guided pathways education area of interest at Rio Hondo College. I'm also the TPP lead and coordinator at our STEM CTE Teach program at Rio. And presently, I am the project lead for our Strong Workforce program, Teach Los Angeles Regional Collaborative, which involves 11 community colleges that are working together to build and enhance teacher preparation programs in the LA region. We are currently, as part of the Teach LA Collaborative, we are currently leading the innovation. We're actually currently doing the virtual workshop series Teach for LA workshop from November 2 to the 20th. And I am spearheading that effort. Back in May, we actually did our Teacher and Future Educators virtual workshop event as well. And back in September, we did our Innovation and Teaching in the 21st century. And these are all part of our strong workforce efforts. I do believe that I am as passionate as with my colleagues about helping our students realize their dream of becoming a teacher. I believe that community college really have a vital role in recruiting, in preparing and diversifying the teacher workforce. I think that ACCCTEP has a very crucial role in leading a unified voice, in advocating for and advancing teacher preparation programs in California's community college system. TPP leaders have really made great strides in the past and in current efforts, but I think that we really need to do more and take advantage of our momentum. So more importantly, we need to do this with a united, and more concerted effort. And that is the reason why I want to be a part of this board of directors for ACCCTEP. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Leah. Marini Smith, West Los Angeles College. Is Marini in attendance? Just needing to unmute. Oh. Apparently Marini was not able to make it today during this time. So we're going to move on to the candidates for the North position. We have 2 South positions available, and we will have 1 Northern position available. Hi, Nicole. Would you like to say a few words?
Yes.
Nicole LaGrave, Butte College.
Yeah. Hi, can everyone hear me? My camera's not working today. Unfortunately, we have our first winter storm up here in the North State. Lots of wind, but it's cool and rainy. So the wind is all right as long as it's not hot. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be here today. I'm a newer member to ACCCTEP, and I'm thrilled to be a part of the organization and wish we were all meeting in person like last year, but this has got to suffice for now. I have been a K-12 teacher for over 20 years, and I work at Butte Community College, which is in Orville, California. I'm located in Chico, so that's where I am right now, but Butte is in Orville in the foothills. And I teach ESL classes, English classes, and I'm the only full-time faculty representation in the education department. So we have a very small education department at Butte. We work closely with our K-12 schools and also with Cal State Chico. So that's the school we kind of feed into, but we get students from all over the North State. And I am really interested in working on solidifying connections with TK-12 schools, community colleges, and four-year institutions. I'm looking to help rural communities gain access, students who are out in rural areas getting access to teacher education programs, and in that same line, diversifying our faculty and our staff in the community college and also in our teacher credential programs and our intro classes at Butte and other community college. And that's it. I'll just keep it short. Thank you all so much.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Kim Sakamoto-Steidel.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kim Sakamoto-Steidel, and I'm running for ACCCTEP Northern California Board Rep. I was born and raised in Santa Cruz, California, and attended local public schools, including Cabrillo Community College. I'm an experienced teacher, administrator, and am currently adjunct faculty with the Cabrillo Education Department and the Cabrillo CSUMB Teacher Pathway Program. I joined ACCCTEP because I share the same goals to institutionalize community college teacher preparation programs and advance a statewide unified voice for TPP. I believe all who are interested in teaching should have equitable access to clearly articulated and fully supported teacher pathways. I've benefited from the wisdom and leadership of CCTPP, RJV, and regional partners, and I'm forever grateful. I will commit to doing the work to keep our North Bay region TPPs connected and resilient. My thanks to Janice for nominating me and to everyone for this opportunity to speak with you today. Thanks.
Thank you, Kim. All right, well, you can see that we have 5 wonderful candidates. And, unfortunately, we only have 3 positions. However, the board is very committed to whomever who will not move forward as part of the board this next year, and having them serve in leadership with ACCCTEP because of their interest and their commitment to teacher education. And we don't want to lose their energy. So you have the opportunity as voting delegates to vote right now. If you have not done so already, you were sent a link earlier to a survey earlier this week with the candidates' booklets to cast your vote. And you were encouraged, if you were attending today, to wait and meet the individuals who are running. And if you did, it's great to take that opportunity again right now to finish casting your ballot. You were just sent, again, the link to the voting survey. So you should have that in your email. If you don't, please check spam. But at this point, we're going to move into committee reports. But you all who are voting delegates will have an opportunity to vote on that Survey Monkey link between now and 12 o'clock. And at 12 o'clock, right after 12 o'clock, we will announce who our new board members will be. So thank you. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat. Okay, we are going to transition now to hear from our other board members, wonderful committee chairs, and the first committee that we're going to hear from is the Advocacy and Legislative Committee.
Hi, everyone. Steve Batista here. Good to see you. Wish again we were all in person, but happy that we're actually together virtually. So the work of the Advocacy and Legislative Committee has been really to try to hopefully elevate ACCCTEP and put ACCCTEP connected with organizations that are aligned with teacher education in our state, as well as to really look at legislation that's happening in our state that really impacts the lower division preparation for future educators. And so the committee is still open. We still need members. I chair the committee. I co-chair it with Kathy White. And we're still looking for members. So if you have an interest in this type of work, policy and legislation, please join me and email me or connect with us so that we can add you to this wonderful group. Next slide, please, Julie. The things that we've been really tracking the past year have been some bills that have been put forward that really impact lower division teacher preparation. They could have impacted lower division teacher preparation in a significant way. They were sponsored, some were sponsored by the CTC, some were endorsed by other organizations, but they were really looking at the testing aspect of teacher preparation that we know is harmful to particularly teachers of color. And so the 3 bills that were put forward this year were one that had to deal with the basic skills proficiency that would have not only used the CBEST, but also allowed coursework taken at the community colleges or in the lower division to meet that basic skills requirement. For example, English, critical thinking, math, those kinds of things. The second one, AB 2485, was dealing with the CSET and being able to allow a combination of testing and subject matter coursework to be able to count for subject matter competence for future teachers. And that would include courses that would be available at the lower division level in community colleges. And then the third one really dealt with the RECA, which we know has been a huge impediment for teacher candidates and trying to create coursework pathways for those students so that they would have multiple alternatives. And so unfortunately, none of these bills made it through because of COVID-19 and the legislators focus on those issues, but we anticipate them coming back, and we would hope that in their development and even in their operationalization, that community colleges would play a role in that as well. And the last one there is on the ethnic studies requirement that was passed by the CSUs. That has implications for the lower division preparation of all of our students and transfer, but could possibly hold a role for teacher education as well. So we were taking a look at that. And then finally, probably the biggest announcement is that we have become an associated organization with Cal Council, the CCTE. And I think Alan Jones, the Secretary of CCTE, is in the audience. So we really appreciate the partnership with that organization. As you know, Cal Council is the voice in teacher preparation for universities and colleges in California, has members from across UC, CSU, and independent colleges, deans, directors, liberal arts chair, liberal studies chairs, and faculty. And our affiliation now with them, our associate organization, allowed us to have a meeting with them, an organization meeting with them with their fall conference, and allows us to participate. So I highly encourage our ACCTEP members to join CCTE, to become an active member with that organization, with our peers and colleagues at the universities. And I highly encourage you to attend the March conference on policy related to teacher preparation in California, because if we are going to be the voice, then we need to be at the table with the individuals who are also shaping the policies, and those are our peers and colleagues. So we appreciate the partnership, we appreciate the connection with them, and I encourage us all to also join them in that in my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. For sure, we're very excited about our associated organization status with CCTE. Is there anyone that has questions? Because we have a little bit more time than we thought we would. So does anyone have questions about the Advocacy and Legislative Committee or any of the bills that Steve mentioned? Okay, so we're hoping to see those bills put forward again, as Steve said, and well, not the last one, but the first three, to see and how we might be involved among ourselves and with CCTE on how to respond to that legislation. Okay, we'll go to our next committee, which is Communications and Membership. Megan Kaplinsky and Megan Bennett.
Hi, everybody. This is like the Megan double trouble, Megan squared committee here.
We call them M&M.
M&M. There you go. My name is Megan Bennett. I am a reading instructor and education instructor at Clovis Community College. And this is Megan Kay's committee that I'm her co-chair, helping her out. But I'll hand it to Megan to say hello as well.
Hi, I'm Megan Kaplinsky. I also get to teach reading and education classes, and I'm at Long Beach City College. So it's nice to see everyone virtually. And all right, Megan, you can start with the newsletter.
So hopefully you received our first newsletter a couple of weeks back. This is our quarterly newsletter that you'll be receiving October, January, April, and July annually. We really wanted to create a newsletter that we had multiple focuses of one, what Steve just talked about. We want to keep you in the loop with what's going on legislatively, but we really wanted to spotlight and share the great work that all of our members are doing at their institutions. And so that way, that not only do we want to spotlight what you are doing from the faculty, from the program standpoint, but we want to hear from your students' voices as well, and how that program, what you're doing is impacting them in a positive way, how it's benefiting them. So we want to hear from you for that, you know, because we will go out and hound you when we need our spotlight pieces, but we would love it if we can create like this bank of all the great work you're doing, so that way we always have a spotlight to share. And so there is a Google form there. Megan just put it in the chat. It's on that slide. And if you can submit your spotlight piece, and then that way we can share all the good work you are doing. And the January, for our January edition, the deadline to get that into us is about a month away, December 15th. So if that's something you're interested in, and they're not huge pieces, as you can see from the last newsletter, Shannon Turman spotlighted West Hills. And so she explained what she's doing with her student organization huddles, And then we heard from a student, and so we'd really like to hear what you're doing. So not only can we spotlight you and give you some attention and shine light on that, but also so we can steal your ideas, right? Because we really want to share those ideas and possibly grow them at our own institutions as well. So any questions on the newsletter? Steve, was that a question, or can you read that? Or I guess I can pull it up here. It says, do we need to be part of the committee to have a spotlight article? No, it's any member, any of our members. So we want to spotlight your work at your community college. So if you're a member of ACCCTEP, that makes you absolutely eligible to submit your spotlight. Thank you for that.
All right, I'll share a little membership update. We, I believe, have gone up in membership since the day we did the slide just a few days ago. I believe we're at 53. And if you're interested in joining, if you are attending this convening just as a registrant, we encourage you to join. We have an online application. It's been streamlined so that you can pay through PayPal or be invoiced, and it's really smooth. We also have an interest in not only just encouraging membership and getting you involved with our newsletter, but this committee also, once regional liaisons are set up under our regional caucus structure, we will be able to help with communication between groups. And if anyone's interested to join, we get to do a little, fun work designing newsletter and recruiting and gathering information to highlight, but we also get to work on outreach to membership and recruiting. So we would love to have folks join us. And so that's why we have the volunteer form, which is not just for our committee, but it is for all committee membership. And our article submission form, you can submit if it's by mid-December. We would hope to select it for the January edition, but we're also interested in just someone reaching out in that form to say they have something coming soon. So if you had some event or activity later in the year that you would like to highlight, please don't hesitate to kind of put your name in so we know when to keep up and connect with you. So we look forward to continuing on with our membership drives and our newsletter distribution, and we would really love to have someone join us. So thank you.
Thank you, Megan and Megan. Really appreciate it. We sent out our first ACCCTEP quarterly about a month ago, and it was very well put together and had some great information about teacher education in it. And so we encourage you to participate with that. So our next committee chair will be the co-chair of the Regional Caucuses Communities of Practice Committee. And Megan Kay just alluded to it, but this is really our Communities of Practice network and our representation of the different regions in California. Since California is such a great state, we want to pull people together to be able to talk to each other about how they're growing and developing their teacher ed program. So Kathleen White, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Our regional lead was not able to make it today, and so I will explain the slide. I'm putting her email in the chat as she is an active member and is leading the Regional Caucus Community of Practice effort for ACCCTEP. So what does this mean? We are looking for representatives throughout California to be involved. We're looking for leads, especially in areas where there is both a current community of practice in place and in areas where there has not been an organized community of practice, to both be the point person and the quote regional area lead for ACCCTEP to promote activities in the region, to collect teacher ed needs and feedback from the region, to offer technical assistance and professional development through ACCCTEP, and to report on regional activities and caucus engagement. We are looking at monthly Zoom sessions, check-in sessions, and just a way to promote ongoing communication. Ideally, when we can meet again in person, we'll actually be able to see each other three-dimensionally and form valuable relationships. Part of being in this teacher ed frontier is that we all rely on each other for support, for assistance, for information. We're in many cases breaking new ground and trying to both affirm and establish a strong presence in the community colleges as places where students can begin their journeys in teacher education. So looking for regional leads, looking for regional expertise, and I guess a commitment to gather together. I'm with City College of San Francisco. I represent the San Francisco Bay region. And especially, we've been meeting for the past 3.5 years through our Strong Workforce regional joint venture. And it's been just amazing to learn from each other and to highlight the work of other community colleges and to join together. I think all regions need this kind of affinity group and technical support group. And in some regions, we know people are not meeting at all. Geographically, there's great distance. And there could be anything from redwood forests to deserts to mountain ranges separating us. So having students know that we're talking, that we're learning from each other, and that we're sharing resources is important. And also knowing what our other partners in the area are doing so we can both cross-refer and cross-pollinate. So a big, I guess, shout out for regional collaboration, for the regional caucus movement. And if you're at all interested, if this appeals to you, if you see yourself as having an increased role in gathering your community together, I put Cheryl's email in the chat. Please contact her, and you can contact any of us on the board to express your interest and your commitment. So thank you. And I'll wrap up in case there are questions. And I guess the other thing I'll mention is that some regions are very active and others, as I said, are not at all. So we want to have equity throughout California. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Yes, most definitely. We have actually identified the regional structure. We have 7 regions. California divided into 7 regions and hopefully divided the colleges up somewhat equally. And some of the more concentrated urban, suburban environments, there are more colleges. But if you're more interested in the helping to formulate or invigorate the regional practice in your geographical area, you can go on to the website and look to see what that structure is. But I'm sure our committee chair, Cheryl Johnson, will be reaching out to you as well, and most likely has already. So it's a great opportunity to build that community of practice. Next slide, please. If you want to volunteer to be on any of these committees, please, you can use this QR code or link to, it'll take you directly to the volunteer form on the ACCCTEP website, and you would just indicate your interest. You can indicate more than one interest. We would love to have that and see how we can all work together collectively to move community college teacher ed programs forward in California. We learned very much from our involvement with CCTE about the need for us to regionally connect with our university partners, CSUs, UCs, and private universities. And they are very, very interested. I've received a tremendous amount of feedback from university teacher education directors and department chairs about how do I get in touch with the community colleges in my area, because we would like to do some bridging and some partnering to be able to recruit those students on the community college campus that are interested in becoming teachers to our universities. So that's another purpose for us having a regional structure so that we know how to refer people to the appropriate contacts. So please consider just putting your name in. You don't have to be a lead. If you just want to be part of the regional conversations in your area, just put in an interest that said, I'll be a part of the regional caucus. And then we'll choose someone from our regional caucus who will represent us on the committee to ACCCTEP. That's pretty much how it works. So please consider that. Now, I mentioned earlier that there's one committee that does not have a slide, and it just completely went out of my mind because I was moreover in this capacity responsible for and working with our colleagues on the board, putting on this convening. So we have another committee called Professional Development Technical Assistance. And many of you may have participated or heard about the webinar that we put on in late August for looking at early field experience in a virtual environment during COVID. And we had multiple speakers from our university teacher ed programs and our own teacher ed programs about, you know, just coming to a common understanding about how will our students engage in field experience during this remote time. We came to develop a good list of resources from all of our presenters, and I have heard feedback from the field that many of our education faculty in our community colleges are using those ideas that were shared that day. So we feel good about having a common understanding. So that's an example of what the Professional Development Technical Assistance Committee does. The committee, me being pretty much and Kim Sakamoto's title, being the sole members of the committee thus far. Also, I've fielded a number of responses from individual colleges asking for technical assistance on how to strengthen their program, how to create a more comprehensive curriculum, how to align that curriculum to other initiatives in the state. And so definitely the Professional Development Committee, Technical Assistance Committee has been very active. And if you are interested in receiving some help, technical assistance in looking at your program, growing your program, or want to start a program, you certainly would contact us through the ACCCTEP website. So thank you very much, but we certainly need other experts on the Professional Development and Technical Assistance Committee so that we can support all of our colleges throughout the state that have programs or want to create programs. Once again, this is the volunteer form. And if you want to volunteer for something, anything, you don't even have to choose right now to say, I want to be more involved. Please just submit that volunteer form. Before we move to our afternoon workshops, which is going to start at 12:20, we wanted to be able to give you a little bit of a break from 12 to 12:20. We're actually finishing up a little bit early, and I hesitate to close the session because we suggested we're still waiting possibly for votes to come in. Does this remind you of the last week and a half of what we've been through? We're still waiting for votes, maybe waiting for votes to come in until noon today. So I just would like to open forum. Anybody that wants to ask a question or make a comment for about the next 5 minutes while we wait for all the votes to come in. We're happy to entertain anyone from our audience who wants to make a comment or ask a question. So please unmute yourself and chime in.
My audio. Janice, I'm in the slow group. Explained again how to vote. Because I thought I don't know why I thought we're voting online here. So I must have misread that.
You received a link, you received an email from SurveyMonkey with a link to vote.
All right.
Good, I'm glad you asked, Sharon.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought we're doing it in public here. I will do this now.
Yeah. We're trying to accommodate folks that were not able to attend today because there's so much going on in teacher education this semester. So we're just happy for the folks who have been able to participate today. Any other questions or someone want to make a comment about something they've heard so far today?
Janice, can I say something real quick?
Sure, Alan Jones from CCTE. Thank you, Alan.
I just wanted to second what Steve said a little bit ago about the the new collaboration between our organizations. We're really delighted to have you folks part of what we're doing, and I think there's a lot of potential there for both sides. So that I just wanted to express our appreciation that you wanted to join with us.
Yes. We're very excited about it, and thank you so much for being so gracious and for participating with us today. It's just it's been a long time coming that the community colleges and the universities should really be linked hand in hand with our teacher pathway programs and looking at teacher ed curriculum at the lower division level. So it just gives us a great opportunity. I did want to take this time while Alan mentions that about our relationship with the universities is one of the things that the Professional Development Technical Assistance Committee is going to continue to work on next semester is we received a request for revisions for many of you that know or don't know to the transfer model curriculum for the ADT and elementary teacher education from the liberal studies directors in the CSU system. And we started looking at that last year, and not much movement has happened on it. But as we talk more with our CCTE members who are from the varying universities, there's a lot of discussion about how do we link our lower division curriculum with their upper division university programs in the context of the multiple subject waiver programs. So we're going to be continuing that conversation, and CCT and ACCCTEP are going to put together kind of a discipline discussion group meeting, town hall sometime in the spring to give input to the lead group that will be making decisions about how to revise or not to revise the transfer model curriculum. So that's one really big activity we have coming up besides the SPAN conference in the spring with CCTE. Okay, I see some things coming in the chat.
I don't believe this. See,
Okay, so Region G, you got your answer,